To give you an idea of what we got going on, we are going camping, and we are nothing if not over prepared. In my defense, we are bringing both dogs, and so that's definitely something to consider. I think I'm going to pack my mountain bike as well. There seems to be about a 20-mile loop out there that I'm going to be able to just, kind of run around and, get a little exercise while I'm out there. I may pack a kettlebell too. Who fucking knows? So, camping, the lowdown on all of our gear. This is basically food and supplies. Where we're at doesn't seem like it's gonna have, a gas station or anything next door or a place to grab food, so stuff. Ice chest. Stuff for the pups. Keep them locked down. Some chairs, some water, and basically all the important camping gear you saw the other day, and my tent. And for those of you who have asked, this is my truck. I've emptied out the bed a little bit. You can see my throwing gear doesn't ever leave the truck. You never know where you're going to be. And I am a lazy person as a whole, which is why I have to constantly tell myself to not be such a piece of shit. So that's what's up. It is a Ford. It is a F-150. It's a 2015. I really like it. It's a company vehicle. Nothing to really complain about. That's all of our camping gear. That's what we got going on. We're heading to a state park here in Louisiana, about 2.5 hours from where we're at now. Should be a good time. Well, I guess we're gonna find out. We seem that we like the idea of camping. We're gonna see if we like that in practice. I'm sure I'll film quite a bit. In other news, yesterday, I said I was going to do a Q&A, ask some questions on a Facebook page, and I'm going to keep this one all Highland games. So if you're not into the Highland games or don't give a shit about training, cut it. If you are, which I assume you are, if you even bother listening to me ever, I'm going to answer some questions people have. There are some repeat questions, so I'm not going to answer those twice. But thanks again for all the response. And these 20 or so questions. Now I can get those dialed in. Mike Beach, please explain in detail if sheaf throwing is the greatest event known to man. I don't know, it's not. You could be throwing stones. Why would you even bother with the sheaf? Brett Johnson, how about more emphasis on growing the sport starting with youth, making more youth age games available? I think that's awesome. I think there should be more and more outlets for people to get involved and compete in the sport. I think it's a great sport. I think it's great for young throwers. Hell, any way that young people are going to be active and learn a skill and learn to move their bodies as athletes is better. What are some good DIY ways of making throwing equipment? Alright, you can definitely do this. I don't believe it's cost efficient for most of the events. Maybe, stone, go buy a stone, that's pretty simple. Or find a stone. For the weights for distance, there's just no way that you're not better buying a Ballistica from Sorinex. It's just about $100. It's pretty awesome. I'll link that below. And you can put your own 10-pound plates on it and throw it, and it comes with a good ring. Other than that, you're gonna have to piecemeal this thing together and get a 2-inch pipe and some bolts and put some weights on it. That's really it, unless you're gonna weld and do stuff like that. All of the weights technically are DIY. Somebody fucking made them. No one's making these for a living. It's not like they're coming out of the Gill Shot Factory. Or contact Mike Landrich. Get some real weights. As far as a hammer goes, You can put some 1-inch standard plates on PVC pipe, but then it still kind of sucks, man. I don't know what to tell you. Those are my favorite options for some decent implements that are actually worth throwing. Michelle Feindorf. I may have brutalized your name, I'm sorry. What are some good exercises to build speed with the hips? New stuff. Some really new tricky exercises. Go with cleans or snatches. Any of those power movements. Also jumping. Yeah, any type of bounding, cleans, snatches, speed deadlifts, squats. All of those things move your hips, make you go faster. Throw some stuff. Get out and throw a lot. How can Marnie Ferguson appear entice competitors to Timmins, Ontario at the end of August 2016? Smiley face. Always open to throw. I like throwing, but I throw for money as well as the experience. So if you're having a pro class, contact me and I'll let you know. As far as getting amateurs, it's no way anything different to publicize anything else. Go out and meet people at local CrossFit gyms. Put some flyers out. Meet athletes. Talk to the local guys. Talk to your pros that are in your area. Like, I mean, I'm not sure where exactly everything is in Canada because I'm American. We're terrible at geography. But I would talk to Rob Young. Rob Young seems to have his finger on the pulse in Canada, and he could probably help you out. Josh Sharp. What are some good drills for the stone? Standing non-reverse, standing reverse, a 180 drill. All of these can be looked up on YouTube. Just look up shot put. Look up shot put drills. It's exactly the same as the stone. You can do pause in positions going through the spin. There's a handful of options. You can also just throw some different weight implements and throw a lot. Work on throwing non-reverse. Work on throwing with a reverse. Those are really your best bet. Aaron George, did I in fact have the height? No fucking way. Jason Busey, how hard is the transition to spiked hammer boots? Isn't it true that Mike Beach has a stronger hair game? Mike Beach's hair game is weak because he only weighs 150 pounds. Jason, it's not the easiest thing to translate to boots, but if you're going to ever want to throw far, get over it and get boots. You're never going to throw real well without them. No one ever has, and you're probably not going to be the guy to break that record. Especially if you're asking me questions. It kind of just goes hand in hand. Terry Smith, do you go through any cues on posture or throws to prevent too much forward lean or ending up back on the heels? If I take a view of dazed, can I be feminine and still kick them in the dick? Absolutely, you can be as feminine as you want to, kick them in the dick. In fact, females can kick dicks just as good as males. Maybe even better. They're lower to the ground and tough to push over. I think of posture for sure. This has been something kind of recently I started doing toward the end of the season, especially with my stone, where as I drop, I'm trying to drop at the hips and not bend over at the waist. So what I'm meaning is, when I come to the back of the trig, instead of going here and being hunched over and then I have to fight this part of me being out of whack and out of my center of balance, I'll actually come to the back and sit up and try to keep that chest up and then attack the throw. I noticed that made a big difference as far as how I felt on balance when I got to the finish, and it was a lot more consistent for me. So that's what I did. Jonathan Ward, is it true every inch of beard adds a foot to your wob? Nope. In fact, I don't know anyone with a good beard to throw wob very far. Think about that. Or high. Now let's just run the numbers on it. Who's got a beard that throws wob very high? No one. Forget about it. Think about that. What exercises are essential to help improve your overall game? Bench, squat, deadlift, clean, snatch, overhead press. Preferably in a push press form. Those are the things you can do. That is the simplest thing you can do to improve your overall game. In fact, they are discussed at length in a book I wrote, still available. I wrote it specifically for Highland Games training. This is still what I follow every year. There are no secrets. There's no wacky drills I'm not telling anyone about. It's simple stuff, and I train. It's simple stuff, and I train the same way that a collegiate thrower is going to attack his program. Everything in the gym has to be efficient and simple because all I want to do is improve my performance on the field. And I want to be able to throw further. If you're in the gym doing something that isn't going to go to that, stop. Think about what you're doing. If you just want to lift different, but don't try to figure out some plan that no one's ever thought about. I mean, the simple stuff still works, and I'll stop squatting with a barbell on my back when it stops working. You know, throwing is a full body movement, and so I want big full body lifts, and the deadlift, bench, squat, clean, snatch, and overhead press are a full body movement that I need everything to work together to get the most out of. And so I'm going to build my body to operate in that system. Do you focus on the inverted C position when you throw, and do you have any special drill to work on this? Will Gray. So for those of you who don't know, the inverted C position has to do with the stone. And the position we're talking about is when you get toward the front of the throw, and you're here, and the hips are in front of the shoulder, and you're throwing. This is generating power because you're getting separation between the shoulders and the hips. Do I have a drill to work on this? No. I throw a lot. I'll do stuff like my standing throws or Braemar throws. Really try to focus on something with my head and left arm out of the back of the trig, and then start the hips to start the throw, and really get that big long stretch across your side. You'll know you do it right because you'll get a terrible burning sensation through your left obliques and side. Audrey Etzvold. I blew out my knee playing volleyball in high school, and I have a mental block because it keeps me from turning early and getting in front of the implement on the weights for distance. Any thoughts on pushing that, or any technique to modify my footwork? If it's a mental block and you don't actually have any physical weakness, then you just got to throw more and get used to it. Get used to that body pattern. If you need to wear a brace, wear a brace. If you need to wear a cuff, put a cuff on it. I've got a bum knee with no ACL in it at all, and I seem to do all right. I feel a lot better throwing with one of the Mark Bell slingshot cuffs on it, and it seems to at least make me feel like it's keeping my knee together. It's probably not doing shit, but I sure feel a lot better, and I'm not going to throw without it. Other than that, techniques for working on footwork. Do some line drills and get used to pushing and waiting and sitting and being patient, and push that weight past you, get back in front of it, catch, push it past you. So what I'm saying there is, for your line drill, if I'm going to be traveling this way, I'm going to catch here, push, 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 push. And then as I'm pushing, I'm also pushing off of my feet. So push, get back in front of it to where you land here. Feet on the ground, shoulders back, push, 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 and then get back in front of it. That's how you do that. Hope that helps. Christina Vetter, I would like to hear about game day. What do you bring? What do you eat? When do you eat it? How do you warm up? How do you manage temperature, sun exposure, etc.? In other words, logistics the casual thrower may not get. I pack everything in my big plastic box, and that travels all over the world with me. Now, things vary depending on where I'm going to be throwing, depending on the temperature that weekend. Is it going to rain? Stuff like that. So, for example, like a game like Pleasanton, where I know it's going to be cooking ass hot all day, I wore a long, thin Columbia brand, like a white shirt that is supposed to be built for fishing, just to kind of get some of the heat off of me all day and not sit there and soak it up. Other than that, I drink water and BCAAs all day. I keep caffeine kind of low on game day. I'm usually pretty amped up anyway, and I don't need anything extra. And then I try to eat food throughout the whole course of the time I'm competing, and if that means I'm a Quest bar or a Perfect bar, or something like that, that's not going to be too harsh on my stomach, but it's going to allow me to have some continuing fuel. I don't really do a protein shake during the middle of competition. I just find them heavy, and I'll try to eat lunch in the middle of the day depending on what's available. And since I don't find throwing to be terribly exhaustive, I can kind of eat whatever I want. Usually that morning I do something pretty light. In the past I've typically stuck with McDonald's breakfast burritos because they're consistent and they don't make me shit my pants, and I can get them anywhere in the country. And then post game, I usually have a handful of beers and laugh with my friends and have some good dinner and eat way outside of the range of what should be healthy for a normal human. Things I pack, I pack footwear. I have tennis shoes, hammer boots, I have soccer cleats, and my high jump spikes that I throw all of the distance events in. And sometimes I vary those up. I'll wear a soccer cleat on my left foot and a high jump shoe on my right so that the right can turn, but I need something stronger to block. Those are all kind of details at the high end of things that I'm really trying to get filled in just because of how the ground feels that day. The key is just be consistent, find what works for you and do that everywhere. That's really what I do game day. I don't listen to a bunch of music to get all pumped up. I'm usually pretty happy. For me, I'm at my absolute best if I'm on the field laughing and having a good time and telling some jokes. That's when I'm probably going to be throwing, because I'm loose and I'm relaxed and I'm ready to compete. Gregor Anderson, what muscle groups are most important for the 56 over the bar? And are there any exercises in the gym that are really good for improving performance in this event specifically? All 6 of the ones I mentioned earlier. And throwing the weight over bar high is a full body lift, just like all of the other events, man. You can't specifically train just to throw wob. You have 8 other events to throw. You want to get better at it? Throw wob a lot. Get stronger. Those 2 things are going to improve it more than anything else. Get all over stronger. It's not doing a bunch of kettlebell swings because it ain't the same movement. They look pretty similar, but the details are not the same. Keith Hernandez, what do you do for in-season recovery? And what about in-season throwing, periodization, and peaking? So I lay out a peaking 6 or 5 week program that I follow leading up to the games that I'm going to try to be my best at. All of that is broke down in Training Lab, my book. I broke it all down. You can just follow exactly what I do. In-season throwing and periodization, I go back and forth between a strength cycle and a speed cycle. And these are both 5 week blocks that I just rotate. And now my strength cycle has 2 days of heavy lifting, and the last day of the week is going to be Olympic lifts that are going to be a little quicker and faster so that I'm still getting some speed work. And I'm throwing all the while. So it's not like I'm just bailing on anything. And then the speed stuff is going to be a little faster, more tempo based in the first 2 days of the week. And then the Olympic lifts are going to be a little heavier, which you still have to be explosive to do. My whole program is based on building power and max strength. What do I do in season for recovery? Sleep, eat enough food. I use a Mark Pro TENS unit. You can pick up a cheap TENS unit occasionally. They're pretty cool, and I do use it a lot. But a good TENS unit would be something I would try first, and I think you can get one of those for like $50. And just use that to pulse and pump your legs, kind of keep some stuff moving and keep yourself dealing well. Recovering from travel is far harder for me than recovery from any of the lifting I'm doing. And sleep and rest, eat a lot. And I think there's a lot to be said for kind of the old adage that there's no such thing as overtraining. There's undersleeping and undereating, and you have to do both of those things. You have to get rest. Contrast baths and showers make a big difference. They're a pain in the ass to set up and do, but they work, and I feel better because of it. I don't really ever do like a long ice bath, but I like going back and forth. Also massage, chiropractor, I do dry needling. I'm basically trying to do everything I can to recover. 30% of my effort is on recovery in season so that I can throw well the following weekend or in 2 weeks or whenever the game is. I'm just trying to keep the wheels on so that I can train and throw as hard as I want to. John Catalinas. May have not said that right. All good athletes use off season to reflect and make changes for the next season. What are the 3 things you're doing to approach differently, increase or decrease focus on? So this off season, diet again is something I'm working on, and so the plan I've had the last couple years is to actually lose quite a bit of weight in the off season and get down to kind of the 260 range, where I feel really good at, but I also feel really weak. And really weak, we're talking about a 10% drop. Give or take, just about as much weight as I lost from being 280 in the end of the season. And so this off season, I'm trying a different plan. I'm working with a different nutrition coach, Chrissy Cagney, just to try something new, and I want to learn more. I've had success doing a couple different things, and I've also had moderate success doing things. For whatever reason, diet just doesn't seem to work real well for me. Maybe I'm fucking bad at it. So the plan this year is I don't really ever want to get below 270 this off season. And I'd like to stay in the window of 270 to 280 the whole season and try to be as strong as I can while getting rid of some fat. That's really my goal. Other stuff than that, I'm going to cut a couple games out of my early season, so I really don't have to turn on until May. And I'm pretty excited about them having 6 or 7 full months off of not going and traveling to compete. I probably won't start throwing until January. I can seem to get away with that. Everything tends to go pretty well. In fact, I'm willing to bet the first throwing session I have in January, I throw really far, and it builds a really awkward false sense of confidence. The hammers will probably go really well, and then I'll stink the rest of the time. I'll probably get out and throw a little bit before that. Just kind of taking my off season as it feels. Other than that, really just focusing on some of the Hate Brand Good stuff, trying to focus on some online training. I want to start working with some people and getting them better. But trying to find the right vehicle to do that. Mobility is always going to be a key too. I want to be a better athlete. I want to be able to move. I want to be able to bound and jump and sprint the same way I could 10 years ago, but that's going to be tough. There you go. There's all your questions. Thanks for those, and enjoy the video. Like, share, comment, pass this around. Check out thehate.com. New coffee mugs are in. They also are going to come with a Caveman Coffee gift card, so you can fill those coffee mugs with something delicious. And good luck to those throwing. Keep an eye out. I do Q&As almost once a week, or at least a couple times a month. And enjoy. I hope that helps.